Okay, think about this. Why do you think, as an adult, you now prefer to drive safer, but as a teenager, you were a more reckless driver? Or why, as an adult, you are not interested in conflicts, but as a teenager, you were always ready to throw that first punch? Or is it just me? You guys need to grow up if that is the case.
So essentially the question is why as teenagers we were more of a risk freak, always rushing for something more exciting and more challenging. Something which has the element of risk involved to quite an extent. But as we grow out of our teenage years, we are more careful and less reckless.
Common understanding of this situation is that as we grow up, we get more and more mature with our decisions and its consequences, which is of course true, but the really interesting stuff, and also why we brought up this question in this video, is more neurological in nature. By this point, I'm sure you've understood how fascinated we are with neurology as a subject.
With no further waste of time, let's begin this tentatively short video because I think after one more page we'll be out of words. Okay, here's the deal. There are two parts of brain primarily at play here. One is nucleus accumbens and the other is orbitofrontal cortex. Let's first quickly see the function of these two brain parts and then we'll understand how it's causing what it's causing, our original question.
The first one is nucleus accumbens, the part of brain which is responsible for humans seeking pleasure. It excites us for taking actions which bring the feeling of excitement in life, provoking us to do more risky things, to be more reckless.
And the second one is orbitofrontal cortex. The part of brain involved in executive decision making allows us to simulate the future consequences of our actions, allows us to assess the outcomes of potential decisions we are about to make.
Now think about this. Having only one of these is a dangerous situation. Having the drive to seek pleasure through extreme risks and do exciting stuff without having the ability to assess where it will lead us, dangerous, right? Or even the opposite, just the ability to assess but no drive to act, no hunger for excitement. Dangerously boring, right?
One of these is exactly the case, the first one to be precise. Nucleus accumbens is the part of brain that gets developed to the adult level in teenage only, which means that the activity in this part of brain is already high in teenagers. Orbitofrontal cortex on the other hand gets developed to the adult level only after teenage is over, when the adult state is actually reached.
And that's why you see these teenagers with this infatuation towards more risky behavior, as the nucleus accumbens is developed quite well from the beginning of the teenage, but no system to actually assess the consequences of these actions until after the teenage is over. So these 10 odd years of your life, you're just acting more on what comes to your mind without much assessment of where it might lead you, probably to the hospital with a broken leg or to the stardom with the risk that you've taken.
Well, if you think about it, a developed orbitofrontal cortex is not all good. I mean, assessment is an important skill of course, but too much of it does sometimes persuade you away from your actions, even when it's absolutely necessary.
Like, go ask that girl out, mate. Take the risk. I mean, the worst she can say is no.